Okay, today we are talking about e-files. So here, again, I'm showing you how to unlock the tolerance, remove the blank, and then lock the tolerance again. So the handpiece plugs right into the front of the control box here. This little switch, when it's flipped up, it's in forward. When it's flipped down, it's in reverse. And I'm going to be working with my right hand, so I want to be in forward. This dial here is how you turn the e-file on and how you adjust the speed. These files that come in your kit are 30,000 RPMs. And then the power cord just plugs into the back there on the control box. The little clear holster, you can adjust it so that you can keep your handpiece in there when you're not using it, which is nice. So I like the dial on the control box because you can kind of look at it like a clock and kind of separate it out so you can figure out how many RPMs you're running at, which is always good to know. Alright, yep, so I'm just kind of showing you here that the light will turn on once you flip the e-file on. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to be removing the product on my nail and prepping for a fill. So I'm just going to put my sanding band on my mandrel. And then I'm going to unlock the tolerance, take out the blank, put the mandrel in, and then go ahead and lock it. And notice how far I've put the mandrel in. Especially if you're working with someone who's got long nails, you don't want to put the bit all the way in, otherwise the top of your handpiece will start to hit their nail, which you don't want. Okay, since I'm working with my right hand on my left, I always want to go right to left, pick up, right to left, pick up. You never ever want to scrub back and forth with your e-file. I mean, you don't really want to do that ever with any sort of file. But yeah, always right to left pick up if you're right-handed, or you can kind of drag it down the center, and then you can go down the sidewalls, kind of up in like a rainbow motion, up around the cuticle area. Okay, so again, yeah, since I'm working with my right hand, I'm going to be in forward, flip the switch up, and I basically always work with my e-file almost all the way up. That way the bit and the e-file can do the work instead of my wrist. So here I'm showing you just very light pressure. I'm going right to left, just kind of down the center of my nail mostly, so that I can start to remove that layer of top coat and also the layer of color that I've got. Also a little bit of glitter on there. And then I'm kind of going to get at the sides right there. And I really want you to get into the habit of checking the nail for temperature every few passes, especially with these sanding bands, because since they're sandpaper, they will hold heat and conduct heat very well, so they can get pretty warm very easily. And then when you're doing your own nails, if you notice, I mean, some of the angles are kind of weird here because I was trying to film on a very tiny table, but you always want your hand to face you as a client would face you, just because that will help get you in the habit. When you are working on a client, you'll be, in the right habits. Okay, so I'm just kind of taking a look all the way around my nail. Looks like I've got a little more either cuticle or polish on that other side there. Okay, and then this sanding band here that I'm using, it's medium grit, so it's safe to use on the natural nail gently. And what I'm doing here is just removing all the dust from the handpiece before I take the bit out. If you take the bit out and then you wipe off the dust, you're going to be pushing dust into the tolerance of the handpiece, which will mess it up. Alright, I'm going to look through here and grab a couple diamond bits to use next. So at this point my product is removed, and now I need to prep the growth and kind of smooth out the transition from the old product to the growth so that it's seamless, so that I can add my product for my fill. Okay, first I'm going in with this small tapered barrel from Erica's. And I'm just showing you how high I've got it. I truly use my e-file almost full speed all the time. So what I'm doing here is kind of smoothing out any dips that I created with the sanding band, if there are any. And then if you see, I'm kind of holding the sidewall with my thumb, always balancing my right hand with my fulcrum finger, my pinky. So I'm going around and smoothing the entirety of the nail plate and also prepping the growth. Just because since we will be applying product after this, I want to make sure that my nail is prepped for my fill, just so that I don't get any lifting or, any product chipping back there by the cuticle. It is still a good idea to check for heat when you're using metal bits. Since I'm filing my own nails, I can feel the heat, so I'm not going to do that as much, but you do always want to do that. So here, I'm turning off the file again, waiting till it stops, taking the dust off, and then I'm going to go in with my Russian Flame, also from Erica's. This is one of my most used bits. I love it so much. And again, speed pretty high. Alright, so here what I'm doing, I'm going in and making sure there is no cuticle tissue left on my nail plate. If we leave cuticle tissue on the nail plate when we apply product, there's for sure going to be lifting, it could be bumpy. It's just not a good idea to leave cuticle tissue. So I'm going through and making sure all of that's removed with my Russian Flame here. And this one, since it's so tiny, you can really get in the edges and kind of even like prop up the cuticle so that you can go through and exfoliate it away or nip it away. I should have brought a little brush or something to get the dust off, but I did not. Oops, sorry. I guess I kind of forgot that I was still filming. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I'm going to turn the e-file off. And I always make sure that it's stopped before I put it down or put it back in the holster. Okay, so here I'm just making sure all the dust is removed, just so I can get a really good shot to see what's going on. So here, there is still a little bit of cuticle that I could have nipped off. But I'm just showing you kind of the transition from the growth to the old product is smooth, and that there's no cuticle tissue remaining on my actual nail plate. Kind of holding back the sidewalls so you can see all the way in there. There's no cuticle anywhere left on the nail plate. Yeah, I definitely should have brought nippers to clip that. Oops.